Have you ever gone through a funk? You know, when you feel like you're stuck in a rut and you can't get out of it no matter what you do? You feel like there's rust growing in your bones and so you don't want to work out. Suddenly, there's a new voice in your head, disguising itself as yours, telling you sweet nothings and tinging everything with a bit of negativity. For some people, that's a daily reality, something they face every single day of their lives. Depression is something we all know too well, but then at the same time know nothing about. Imagine how much productivity and efficiency is lost on those days that you feel stuck in a rut. Now imagine that in a whole population across a whole lifetime. If depression accounts for 3.8% of the population, that's 280 million people in the world that we know of. Imagine all the extra manpower, the geniuses laying dormant because they're silently suffering. What if we could help alleviate their affliction and in turn gain so much as a society? Just imagine what you could personally do if you lessened all those days you feel foggy and stuck in a rut. The topics discussed in this video are heavily influenced by the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Homo sapiens have this beautifully unique superpower of ours, which made us the most successful species on the planet, which is the power of speaking about things we can't see. Humans have been living in a dual reality for a very long time. On the one hand, we know the objective reality of rivers, trees, and our physical body. We know these things to be true because I can physically touch a tree and my brain infers that it is there and it exists. But how do I know a nation exists? Because on the other hand, we accept a reality that we don't see, of gods, of nations, and slowly, of mental illnesses. I know the nation of Australia exists, not because I can physically touch Australia, nor that I can physically see all of Australia, but because I believe in a social construct, a shared imagined reality. There's no such thing as the nation Australia. That name came about because European settlers came to this land here and proclaimed it that name. Before them, Aboriginals of the land named it various different things. Names such as Athuru, Bana, Bik, Kurek, just to name a few. These are mere generic terms that literally just meant ground or land. Nations don't actually exist. The land they're on was there long before us and will be long there after we're gone. Once humans die or move on to a different planet or whatever, the land that we call Australia won't have that name anymore. In Yuval Harari's book Sapiens, he says, unlike lying, an imagined reality is something that everyone believes in. And as long as there is a communal belief persists, the imagined reality exerts force in the world. So from the beginning of the Sapiens journey, we have been accepting two realities, the one we see and the one we don't see. And this became our superpower, to imagine things collectively. From this, we became the most successful species on the planet Earth. These shared imagined realities gave us cohesive glue to join together and form groups. In the natural world, large groups of animals exist, such as wildebeests and bees, large groups of animals working towards a common goal, such as survival, food gathering, or reproduction. However, these settings have very defined roles for the individual in a rigid social order. Looking at more flexible and social animals such as chimpanzees, we see that chimpanzees have extreme difficulty forming groups larger than 20 to 50 individuals. Homo sapiens were able to override this limitation with our shared belief in unseeable realities. Yuval goes on to say, two Catholics who have never met can go together on a crusade and risk their lives for one another, or pool funds together to build a hospital, because they believe in a common religious myth. However, try to convince a monkey that he will be given unlimited bananas in monkey heaven in his afterlife if he sacrifices something for you now, and you'll be likely spat at. We all know that the rates of depression are increasing, and we always hear this. And yes, there is a portion just related to increased screening. But why is that happening? Why are the rates of depression increasing? Why are we getting more afflicted by mental illness as the years are going on? We should be getting better as a society, right? Yet it seems as time is going on, we're forgetting about this old superpower that we have. We're believing less of people's realities that we don't see. When a person has a broken arm, I can visually see evidence of the deformity that broken arm has caused. Their bone looks different to mine. I can physically feel the fracture point and feel a little crack or a little divot. And so I can easily believe them when they say something like, I am in pain. But when a human with depression turns and says, I am in pain, we find it hard to truly believe and validate that they are in pain, that they have an illness, that they're sick. I find this point exceptionally explained in John Green's video titled, How About Yours?, in which he describes a memory in which he was crossing a bridge with a friend while being absolutely terrified of heights. He goes on to say, she knew my bridge was different to hers, and so the true observation is never that this bridge is terrifying. Instead, the only thing you can say with certainty is that my bridge is terrifying. How about yours? And then this is the real trick with living on a planet with many other human souls that are just as valuable as your own. You must find a way to really listen to this other person's answer and to believe in their experience as fully as we believe in our own. Saying, I believe your bridge might be scary, even if mine isn't. There's a huge risk that if we don't start listening and trusting people's experiences, that the reality that we don't see will eventually have irreversible effects on the reality that we do see. For some age groups, the biggest risk to their existence is themselves. For instance, in my country of Australia, the leading cause of death of people aged 15 to 44 is suicide. That's harrowing to know. So what if we were able to solve depression? Imagine the increased productivity at work we would observe. People would be more driven, being able to get the same amount of tasks in less time, which would give us more time to spend on social connections and passions and all those other things you love to do. Looking at yourself when you're in a good mood, when you're happy, do you feel like starting fights with other people? Or do you have a greater capacity for kindness and are more motivated? Depression can manifest in many different flavors depending on the kind of person you are. It can manifest as anger, the explosive manager, or as laziness and apathy, the negligent doctor, or as insecurity and cruelty, leaders putting others down. All different sides of the same coin. Imagine what we could achieve as a species or just individually if we all worked to be our higher selves. What would the world look like if we were a happier and more fulfilled population? I know personally I can't change the world, but I know I can shape the one I want to live in. So hopefully, when someone says to me, I am in pain, hopefully I listen with an empathetic ear, and hopefully they do the same for me too.